Well, hello. You might be asking yourself, where is all of Jack's stuff? Well, I'll tell you, giving it some thought, and I am quitting music. But what do I do about the channel? Maybe it'll be about gardening? Welcome back, my name is Jack. Thanks for tuning into the video. If you're new here, it's my goal to help creative music makers make better music at home. Now, if the intro had you worrying, no, I'm not quitting music, but yet again, I have completely torn apart the studio. As you can see, I have no desk, I have no setup, and there's a big empty space in my room. Well, I've given it some thought, and I'm actually gonna try a different setup. We're gonna try something new. Now, the desk that is the centerpiece of my studio setup has been with me for over 10 years, and I've been using it as the centerpiece of my studio for about 8 years now. And as it can be with creative work, sometimes you get to a point where you just stop feeling inspired, or you reach the limitations of your room or your setup, and you feel like you need to grow beyond it. And this is an example of that. I've decided that I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna try out a new centerpiece, a new desk in my studio, and this was actually initiated by a very generous donation from a company who were willing to donate the desk to me for my studio. Now, I'm gonna do a full video on that and let you know all about the desk because it's super awesome and I'm super excited and grateful to have had it donated to the channel, and I can't wait to share that with you all. But since I don't have a studio setup, I thought we would talk about your setups. And this is a perfect opportunity to announce a brand new series that I have coming to the channel called Home Studio Setup Feedback Fridays. That's right, starting today and every Friday, I'm gonna have a special episode dedicated to giving you all feedback on your home studio setups. So any of you out there watching, I would love it if you would be a part of these videos. Really, it's a great opportunity for me to get to know what you all are working with, and a great opportunity for all of you to get some feedback and suggestions on how you can improve the setups that you already have, because that's what this channel is all about. So I'm gonna stop talking because the best way to show you what this is gonna be like is actually to jump into it right now and start our very first Home Studio Feedback Friday video with a couple of submissions that I got over this last week. Now, before I get into it, if this is an awesome idea and you want to be a part of these Feedback Fridays, please do hit subscribe with the bell notifications on, and don't forget to like this video so that YouTube puts it out in their algorithm world and sends it out to a bunch of new viewers so that the channel can keep on growing. Now, when I think of home studio setups, I like to classify them in 3 different levels or 3 different tiers. So tier number 1, that's going to be the most simple setup, and that usually involves some kind of computer or likely a laptop and headphones. And you're not going to be mixing outside of those headphones. You're not going to be projecting the sound into your room at all using speakers. And this is actually a pretty good place to be at if money's a concern or if you don't have a dedicated room for production. It might actually be a good idea to stay in that tier for quite some time and invest in other things before you start buying, speakers and all that kind of stuff. The second tier would be you've got a room, you've got some monitor speakers, and you're just trying to make the best out of that. Now, the third tier setup is you've got your computer, you also have your monitors, but you also have some kind of dedicated soundproofing or room treatment in that room as well, and it might be like an isolated room that you're using just for music production. So tier 1, headphones; tier 2, monitor speakers; tier 3, dedicated room, soundproofing, and room treatment. So moving forward, as I review the studios, that's kind of how I'm going to classify them. And I would argue that, maybe a upper level tier 1 studio is better, and you might be able to make better music in there than a low level tier 2. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is, but I don't want you to think, oh, my goal should be to be at tier 3 right away. Like, I'm going to put some foam up on the walls and I'm going to put speakers in my room. That may not be the best thing, especially if money's a concern or you don't have a dedicated space. So for example, first one I'm going to review comes from India, and this is from a producer named Mune. He's actually a really good friend of mine. I've known him for at least 6 years now. He's a great producer, super talented, and he's signed to Ultra Music, which is awesome. So we're going to be looking at his setup. Here it is right here. It's a pretty simple setup. I'd say he's definitely in tier 1, and again, no shame for being in tier 1. It's actually a great place to be. You can make really great music. I really like the desk. I honestly think it's a really nice looking desk. I love the keyboard tray, the little drawer for the keyboard. Honestly, I wish I had something like that for my setup. We'll see. Nothing I would really complain about. Again, when you're in tier 1, you're not worried about how the sound is interacting in the room, so you can get away with a lot more as far as where everything is positioned on the desk and all of that stuff. I can't tell what kind of headphones he's using there, but one thing particularly particular that I'm going to be saying a lot in this series about tier 1 is you really want to invest in 2 things. And this is kind of what's going to get you to the top of tier 1 ready to go into tier 2. And that is like best audio interface you can afford and best set of mixing headphones that you can afford. Like, don't worry about anything else. I mean, obviously software and plugins, that stuff is super important at this tier and all tiers. But if you're going to buy hardware, I would focus as much as you can on the best interface and the best headphones, because that's going to really put you in a position to be making great music, even if you're doing it all inside the box and inside headphones. But yeah, man, big +1 on the desk. I think the MIDI controller is great, and the drawer for the controller. If you were to go try to position yourself more into the tier 2 range, so getting some speakers and using those as a reference aside from the headphones, I like that you've got that rear, what I'd call like a monitor bridge, a little second tier up on the desk that elevates the back part there with the shelves. I think that's great because I think that it offers a great spot to put monitor speakers on so that they're about ear level. Now, a couple things you'd want to do if you did get monitor speakers for that setup, you'd want to pull the desk significantly off the wall. You also want to try to position it somewhere in the middle of that wall so that the walls on either side, left and right, are equidistant from each other. Again, you're in a good spot right now, so maybe it's not the best idea to jump up to tier 2, because anytime you move from one tier to the next, you tend to create a lot of problems for yourself, and usually solving those problems involves spending money. All right, now the second setup is also coming out of India. This one is from a longtime supporter of the channel and someone who's been really active in the comments. So for that, I'm super grateful. You make the channel what it is, and I wouldn't be here without you. But his name is Dip Arya. I hope I'm saying it right. But again, a producer out of India, and it looks like a great little tier 1 setup. Like, I like it a lot. It's a great starting point. And I'll say this over and over again. Your setup honestly doesn't mean that much. Like, you make up 90% of the quality of the sound. Everything else is irrelevant. Yeah, there's things that help, there's tools that help, but at the end of the day, how you use what you have is all that matters, and all that people listening to your music are going to care about. So a great tier 1 setup. Like I said before, really try to encourage you to get some fully over the ear monitoring headphones. They can be expensive, but it's a really great investment if you can do it. What he's using in the picture, I'm not sure. Again, use what you can, but that's probably the first thing I would upgrade, and then after that, a really nice audio interface so that you get good stereo field and really good digital to analog conversion while listening. The desk looks nice, but if you did want to add some stuff or get a MIDI controller, you'd probably end up running out of space. It just looks like even just with your mouse and keyboard, you kind of got a tight space. So maybe that's something to think about down the line, getting a new desk, getting something with a little more real estate so you can continue to grow. Well, that's all I got for this first initial one. It was a bit of a teaser, but I'll probably do anywhere from 3 to 5 setups every week. If you want to be featured in future home studio setup Feedback Friday episodes, please head over to my Instagram. That's @JackTheMurray. Give me a follow and submit pictures of your home studio setup, and I'll include them in a future upload. If you want to be a part of this channel and future home studio setup Feedback Friday episodes, please do hit subscribe with the bell notifications on to stay up to date on my Feedback Friday videos and all of my other uploads. Let me know in the comments if you think that this is a good idea and you want to be a part of future Feedback Friday videos. And again, be sure to stay tuned on updates regarding my home studio setup. It's going to be good. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next upload. Peace.